You walked into Target for toothpaste, $4.99. But somehow, 45 minutes later, you're standing at the checkout with a candle, a throw pillow, a bag of coffee, and a small potted plant that you're not entirely sure how to keep alive. And the toothpaste. Total, $147. How did $4.99 become $147? And more importantly, why does this keep happening? The answer isn't in your wallet, it's in your brain. This is why you overspend and don't even notice. You've heard the advice: skip the latte, cut the avocado toast. The latte factor told you that $5 a day is the problem. And sure, that's $1,800 a year. But here's what nobody talks about. The average household's discretionary overspend is closer to $7,000 annually. The coffee isn't the problem, it's everything you don't see. Because overspending isn't about the coffee, it's about the hidden psychological triggers that fire in your brain dozens of times a day. Every time you open an app, walk into a store, or see a sale. In the next 10 minutes, you're going to learn the 5 hidden triggers that make you overspend, the emotional root underneath all of them, and 5 strategies to take back control. Let's start with what's actually happening in your brain when you swipe that card. Deep in your brain, there's a tiny structure called the nucleus accumbens. It's your reward center, and it drives most of your spending decisions. Here's what most people get wrong. The dopamine spike doesn't come after you buy something, it comes before. The anticipation of the purchase, seeing the product, imagining owning it, that's the high. The actual purchase? That's the come down. Dopamine returns to baseline the moment you click buy. So your brain doesn't want the thing, your brain wants the wanting. Neuroscientists call this the wanting-liking gap. Your brain's wanting system, driven by dopamine, is far more powerful than its liking system. You want intensely, you like briefly, and then you want again. It's a loop. Want, seek, buy. Brief satisfaction, want again. This loop evolved over hundreds of thousands of years in an environment of scarcity. For 200,000 years, rewards were rare. Finding a berry bush triggered a massive dopamine spike because your brain needed to remember where that bush was. That system worked perfectly in a world of scarcity. But in the last 100 years, we built a world of abundance, and your brain is still running the old software. It can't tell the difference between a rare berry bush and a 40% off flash sale. Both trigger the same dopamine response, and marketers know exactly which keys turn those locks. There are 5 hidden triggers. Let's go through each one. Trigger 1: mental accounting. Why a $100 gift card feels like free money. In 1985, economist Richard Thaler introduced the concept of mental accounting. Here's how it works. You have $1,000 in your checking account. Rent money, bill money, serious money. You treat it carefully. But then you get a $1,000 tax refund, and suddenly, that money feels different. It feels like fun money, free money, even though $1,000 is $1,000. Your brain puts money into different mental buckets, and it spends freely from the bonus bucket while guarding the serious bucket. This is why gift cards, tax refunds, and bonuses disappear so fast. Your brain labeled them spendable before you even touched the money. Trigger 2: payment decoupling. When you pay with cash, your brain's pain center, the insula, lights up. You physically feel the loss. But when you tap a credit card, that pain signal barely registers. Credit cards decouple the payment from the purchase. The buying happens now. The pain happens later, when the statement arrives. By then, the dopamine is long gone, and you can't even remember what you bought. Studies show people spend up to 100% more when using credit cards versus cash for the exact same items. Same products, same prices, different brain response. And now, with one-click buying, Apple Pay, and buy now, pay later, the friction is zero. The pain is zero. 3 clicks. Confirmed. Arrives tomorrow. Trigger 3: anchoring. Why the first number you see controls every decision after. Anchoring is the cognitive bias where the first number you see becomes the reference point for every number after. Imagine you're shopping for a watch. The first one you see costs $10,000. You're not buying a $10,000 watch. But then you see one for $2,000, and suddenly $2,000 feels reasonable. Restaurants do this with wine lists. The $119 bottle exists so the $59 bottle feels smart. You didn't choose the middle option. You were anchored into it. From $9.97 to $97. You didn't need it, but the anchor made you buy. Trigger 4. The Diderot effect. Why one purchase creates a spending cascade. In 1765, French philosopher Denis Diderot received a gift, a beautiful crimson robe. He loved it. But then he noticed his old desk looked shabby next to the new robe. So he replaced the desk, then the chair, then the curtains, then the paintings. One gift triggered a complete replacement of everything he owned. This is the Diderot effect. One purchase creates a cascade. You buy a new sofa, suddenly the coffee table looks dated. Then the rug, then the throw pillows, then the lamp. One purchase, 5 more. It never stops at 1. Trigger 5. Retail therapy. Why buying things feels like solving problems. You had a stressful day. You feel anxious, bored, lonely, insecure. And somewhere in your brain, a connection fires. Buying something will make this feeling go away. And for about 15 minutes, it kind of does. The dopamine hits, the feeling lifts. But the stressor is still there. The anxiety is still there. The loneliness is still there. And now you've spent $87 you didn't plan to spend, which creates new stress. That's the retail therapy cycle. Stress leads to craving. Craving leads to purchase. Purchase leads to temporary relief. Relief fades into guilt. Guilt leads to more stress. You're not buying products. You're buying a 15-minute pause from a feeling. And here's where the modern economy makes everything worse. In 1985, if you wanted to buy shoes, you had to drive to a store, try them on, pay with cash or a check, and drive home. That's 4 steps, 4 points of friction, 4 chances to reconsider. In 2026, you see an ad on Instagram. Swipe up, Apple Pay, done. Under 60 seconds. Every second of friction was a chance to ask, do I actually need this? Modern commerce removed every one of those seconds. One-click buy, saved cards, buy now, pay later, which breaks $150 into 4 payments of $37.50, so your brain registers it as basically free. The algorithm knows your browsing history, your time on page, your abandoned carts, your inferred emotional state. You are not the customer. You are the product being aimed at. Every one of these exploits a trigger you now recognize. And then there's subscription creep. Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime, the gym you haven't visited since February, the meal kit you forgot to cancel, cloud storage, news apps, meditation apps. Each one is small. Each one is automatic. Together, over $3,000 a year in many cases, leaking out of your account in ways you stopped noticing months ago. You earn enough. It just leaks. Which brings us to the real question. What are you actually buying? Because underneath all 5 triggers, underneath the dopamine and the anchoring and the one-click buying, there's an emotional root. You're not buying products. You're buying the person you want to be. The expensive watch isn't about telling time. It's about respect. The designer bag isn't about carrying things. It's about belonging. The home gym equipment isn't about exercise. It's about the hope that you'll become disciplined. The product is the 10% you can see. The emotion is the 90% you can't. And social media makes it worse, because now you're not just comparing yourself to your neighbors. You're comparing yourself to everyone's highlight reel. You're spending real money to match fake lives. So the question isn't, can I afford this? The question is, what feeling am I actually chasing? Because the product won't deliver it, but awareness will. Here are 5 strategies to take back control. Strategy 1, the 48-hour rule. When you feel the urge to buy something non-essential, save it to a list. Wait 48 hours. Here's why this works. 80% of impulse purchases are abandoned after 48 hours. Your brain's dopamine spike lasts hours, not days. Want is urgent. Need is patient. Time tells them apart. Save it. Wait. Let the wanting fade. Then decide, from a calm brain, not a dopamine-flooded one. Strategy 2, the cash pain experiment. For 1 week, use cash for every discretionary purchase. Coffee, lunch out, that random Target run. When you tap a card, the pain center in your brain stays quiet. When you count out $5.75 in cash, you feel it. You pause. You ask, is this actually worth it? Studies consistently show that people spend 20 to 50% less on discretionary items when using cash. Cash doesn't make you frugal. Cash makes you aware. Strategy 3, one in, one out. Before anything new enters your life, something old must leave. Buying a new shirt? One shirt goes to donation. This reverses the Diderot effect. Instead of new things triggering a cascade of more new things, the new thing triggers an audit of what you already have. The closet becomes the budget, not your bank account. Strategy 4, unsubscribe from the triggers. Delete shopping apps from your phone. Remove saved credit cards from browsers and shopping sites. Unsubscribe from every promotional email. Log out of Amazon so you have to intentionally log in. Every notification you silence is a trigger you've disarmed. Every extra step you add is a moment to reconsider. These changes take 10 minutes. They save thousands. Strategy 5, the cost per use formula. Price divided by estimated uses equals true cost. That $60 pair of jeans you wear 100 times? 60 cents per wear. That $200 dress you wear to one wedding? $200 per wear. Price is what you pay at the register. Cost per use is what it actually costs you. Stop asking, can I afford this? Start asking, will I use this enough to justify it? 5 strategies. Pick one. Start today. Add the others as you go. Here's what you now know. Your brain wants. It doesn't need. That's not a flaw, it's the design. The 5 triggers: mental accounting, payment decoupling, anchoring, the Diderot effect, and retail therapy are not signs of weakness. They're features of a brain built for scarcity, navigating a world of abundance. It's not math, it's your brain. Subscribe and hit the bell. New video every week. What was the last thing you bought that you didn't need? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. See you next week. Same time, same brain. Spend less, live more. It starts in your brain.